to discuss is the aforementioned Farid Basharat taking on Taylor Lapilus. And this is a fascinating bantamweight matchup. Why? Because you have two guys that have opposite styles that both are very talented, and we got to figure out exactly where they stand, right? Taylor Lapilus, a guy who's been in and out of the UFC. He's back, right? He's been on a good run, got the win over the Irishman, Cowlin Loughran. And now it's a whole different scene, right? We've got Farid Basharat, who is a ground specialist, right? He wants to take you down. He wants to smother you from on top. He wants to pass your guard, and he wants to control you, dominate you, submit you, finish you. So I think that Farid is a problem. I think he's a real dangerous guy. I think he's extremely talented with his grappling. And I think that, when you look back, right, the win over Damon Blackshear, I think, is aging like fine wine. That's another very talented grappler. That's a guy who got the twister, right? He's on the submission of the year list for people. And he got summarily outgrappled by Farid Basharat, who was smart positionally, who knew exactly where he needed to be, where to keep his hips. And I think that, it's one thing to expect Cowlin Loughran to switch opponents on short notice and go out there and outgrapple a guy like Taylor Lapilus, who's pretty dang tough and pretty hard to put on the ground. Big, strong guy. But also, I think when you can get past the side kicks, when you can get past a little bit of that range management, then I think that you could really maybe expose some of those grappling layers if you can get deeper than that first exchange, right? What did we always see from Ciryl Gane? We always saw he did a great job of out grappling people that were not good, and then keeping the fights at his range and his distance and managing. And then John Jones goes in there, takes him to the ground, and instantly grabs a hold of his neck, and he's just tapping right away, right? Looked like he hadn't been deeper into some of those grappling exchanges. He kind of was able to manage them all. And I think the same thing could be true for Lapilus, right? In his recent fights, I think he's been able to manage a lot of these grappling exchanges. And I think if Basharat is able to really get on top, set up shop, get to his office, I think he could be able to pass the guard and potentially finish somebody like Lapilus, which would be very hard to do. But I also think that Lapilus is not an easy mark, right? If he's not able to get takedowns, I think this could become a very greasy fight. I think it becomes very difficult, to project him as a clear winner here. So for me, the pricing is contingent on takedowns, right? Farid Basharat minus 245, best available price in the market on FanDuel Sportsbook, plus 210, best available comeback on Taylor Lapilus over at BetMGM. And you're looking at two guys that are both talented. One of them's plus 210. However, I think the Basharat brothers are for real. I've thought that for a while. And I think that Farid is a phenomenal top player with really strong physicality behind him. And so for me, that's my deciding factor. I think that Farid might surprise people by submitting, Taylor Lapilus in this spot. I don't think a lot of people are necessarily expecting that. Just looking at the Tapology votes, I think a lot of people expect this to go the distance. But I just think if he's able to get to the positions that would make him a favorite like this, that would make him a 70% favorite, then I think he might be able to find that finish and progress to his dominant position. So that's what I'm going to be looking forward to. Last time out, he was able to show off a dominant skill set. He was the hitman for the UFC. Clayton Rodriguez missing weight, not showing up, ready to go. Okay, no problem. We're going to send you in there against the Basharat brother. And he got handled accordingly. Now Taylor Lapilus went out there, did his job last time, but I don't know that the UFC wants to necessarily move him up the card. So we'll find out here. 31-year-old Lapilus against 26-year-old Basharat. Great fight, great matchmaking, striker versus grappler. But I think that it's going to be, Basharat's world if he gets it to the ground. Saga says, should be a good fight. Lapilus looks like he has legit takedown defense and calculated striking. Also, his early UFC stint, he fought a grappler and had no issue. He's got good BJJ. I'll look into exactly who you're talking about. 19-3, I mean, it's a fantastic record, right? You can't take much away from him. Lost to Latvertniev, not a bad loss. Lost to Eric Perez. Wins in the UFC over Leandro Issa, Ulka Sasaki, and Rocky Lee. I mean, not bad wins, but also, I do think, his best win might even be Nate Maness in TKO. Wilson Hayes So he's got a very quality strength of schedule outside the UFC. Take nothing away from him, but currently he's on a 6-fight win streak, 31 years of age, a little bit old for this division as well, like we noted about that last fight. Something to keep note of. But this 26-year-old Basharat, I do think that his ground game is different. And I do think that, again, Damon Blackshear, very talented on the ground, right? That's his bread and butter. That's where he wants to take the fight. And, he got audited a little bit in that fight by Basharat. So I think that that's something to keep note of because Lapilus, great takedown defense, no doubt about it. But once he gets into some of those positions, that's where I'm curious how he's able to respond. I will do some more due diligence though, and watch his specific grappling sequencing.